A single handshake in Istanbul could redraw the front lines of Europe, if it happens at all. For the first time since the first spring of the war, Kyiv, Moscow, Washington and Europe appear, however warily, to orbit one date, May 15th in Turkey. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has vowed to be there, but only if the guns fall silent under a 30-day all-domain ceasefire starting May 12th, a demand the Kremlin continues to brush aside. The resulting diplomatic whirlpool, with Donald Trump urging immediate talks and European leaders pressing Moscow, is both the boldest and the most fragile opening in 3 years of bloodshed. Zelensky's challenge is blunt: "I'll be waiting for Putin in Turkey on Thursday." He frames the ceasefire as a litmus test of Moscow's sincerity, insisting that land, sea and air hostilities stop before any negotiation begins. Vladimir Putin counters with an invitation to Istanbul talks on May 15th, yet ties them to reopening the shelved spring 2022 draft treaty and to the real situation on today's battlefield, effectively demanding Kyiv concede ground first. Western diplomats warn that restarting from the 2022 text would force Ukraine to revisit proposals for drastic troop reductions and neutrality that were never accepted. The Council on Foreign Relations notes that Putin historically packages limited pauses around Victory Day symbolism, then resumes offensive operations, casting doubt on any ceasefire he does sign. On May 10th, the leaders of Britain, France, Germany and Poland stood beside Zelensky in Kyiv, declaring that Russia alone still wants war and daring Trump to tighten pressure on the Kremlin. Britain's Sir Keir Starmer hailed Kyiv's offer as the closest we've been to peace, a phrase meant to isolate Moscow diplomatically if it refuses. Washington's role. Trump, communicating through Truth Social, praised a potentially great day, and told Zelensky to agree immediately, but stopped short of conditioning U.S. support on a Russian ceasefire. His special envoy, retired General Keith Kellogg, publicly insisted that the ceasefire must precede any talks, signaling an internal split that Kyiv is keen to exploit. Opposition voices. Russian hardliners online brand the ceasefire demand an ultimatum, urging Putin to press his current battlefield advantage instead. Ukrainian opposition parties, though broadly supportive, worry that agreeing to talks without ironclad security guarantees risks freezing Russian gains in place. Social media dynamics. Within hours of Zelensky's tweet, #Meet in Turkey trended in multiple languages, while pro-Kremlin channels pushed #No ultimatums, underscoring how information warfare now brackets every diplomatic move. Analysts note that both sides echo Trump's phrasing to sway him, reflecting the outsized influence Washington still wields despite Europe's visible engagement. Veteran negotiators draw parallels to the 1953 Korean armistice talks, where months of ceasefire proposals masked fierce fighting, warning that diplomacy without enforcement mechanisms can merely reset the clock on violence. Yet optimists recall the 1995 Dayton shuttle diplomacy, when sustained Western pressure finally aligned warring parties toward compromise. "This is the hardest corridor to peace I've ever walked," a senior EU diplomat confided, because the doorknob is in Trump's hand, not ours. Meanwhile, Zelensky insists, the very first step in truly ending any war is a ceasefire. In the coming days, the artillery may speak louder than any statement. If Moscow orders even a partial silence of its guns, Istanbul could host the most consequential handshake of the decade. If not, the spotlight will shift to whether Trump, emboldened or embarrassed, finally confronts Putin more directly. Either way, the ceasefire clock has started, and every shell that lands after May 12th will testify to which leader truly keeps the door to peace closed. Peace hangs on a deadline. So does history's judgment. If you value clear, fact-based analysis of the world's turning points, like comment with your forecast for May 15th, share this video to broaden the debate, and subscribe to Omni for more incisive global reporting.